Hello everyone, Fancy here, you're watching FancyVision, and today I'm discussing how video games are now involved with the World Health Organization. Yeah, apparently video games are now a disease. Isn't that great? I read this, and I'm still kind of baffled that this has happened. Gaming disorder is now a disease that is recognized by the World Health Organization. It is a disease. Now, there are plenty of things on this planet that really aren't a disease that, of course, they recognize as a disease, but I feel like this is the most ridiculous. It's just self-control. That's all we're talking about here, is people with a lack of self-control, people with an addictive personality. You could literally list it as one thing, addictive personality, boom, you're done. You've got the whole disease right there. Has nothing to do with video games in themselves, especially specifically, because it's everything that is enjoyable can be addictive. I mean, people can be even addicted to things that are awful, like exercise. But seriously, I mean, there's the runner's high, and people want to keep, going out running. Some people get addicted to running, and then it gets unhealthy, and it's bad for their joints because they're doing it too much. And it's the thing, there's one thing you need to know in life, is that moderation is everything. You need to moderate yourself in everything that you do. And that seems to be a huge problem for people, to the fact that it's now a disease for playing too much video games. I mean, people have so little self-control these days that we're classifying so many different things as diseases when they're not. Just put the fucking controller down. What do you mean it's a disease? That's ridiculous. And the thing is whenever these sort of things kind of go through and become official problems, they start making me worry about, well, what is the government going to do now? Because the government and the news, for some reason, I've always had a hard-on for their hatred of video games. I really don't understand it. I mean, I feel like we should be past this by now. It's 2019. Video games have been around for quite a while. They're not the devil. They're not the worst thing in the world. They're not causing violence, which is another thing that they love to tout all the time. These states are trying to put a sin tax on rated M video games. There's so much bullshit already surrounding video games. Listing them as a disease is only going to make it worse. And again, my cynical brain is telling me that the government is wanting to get a cut. The games industry is making so much money. It's ridiculous. So why wouldn't the government want more of a cut here? Now, you could just say, oh, well, all these companies, well, not all of them, but a lot of them have offshore accounts. A lot of them don't pay taxes, looking at you, Activision, looking at you, probably EA. A lot of these different companies are not paying taxes on their income. So why not just go after them and get your cut? Because no, the government doesn't do that. They go after all of us. So they do start thinking of this as a sin or an addictive substance, which it is actually under. It's under disorders due to substance use or addictive behaviors. It is near enough the substance use area. It's right next to gambling disorder. This is not a sin. This is not some degenerative thing that you have to worry about doing. Video games are just fun. You make friends playing video games. You de-stress playing video games. You kind of save money by not having to go out and do other things with playing video games. You experience new things in an art form that is unlike anything else. So calling it a disease is just a disservice to the art form, and it's a disservice to people that enjoy video games. You're giving more ammo to those people that hate video games just because they don't understand them. And I feel like that's the main problem with a lot of these people that are putting these sort of things through, the people that are saying that video games cause violence. They just don't understand. And like I said, everything enjoyable can be addictive. It all has to do with moderation. Everything in moderation. I mean, Magic the Gathering is not a disease, but it's jokingly called cardboard crack because it's kind of a dopamine hit to open these things. You could call it addictive. But the thing is because most people have self-control, It's not an issue. It's a joke. I don't quite understand how board games, card games, stuff like that is treated differently than video games. What about movies? Talk about Netflix, all these people binging shows. It's now just a thing for people to watch an entire series of a show, and it's treated like a normal thing. But video games are now called a disease if you do that sort of thing. Oh, if you play too many video games, you've got gaming disorder. You don't want to come down with the gaming disorder. Oh, you just watched all of Breaking Bad on Netflix? Damn, I love binging too. That's so cool. It's the stupidest thing in the world that they just keep singling out video games. I just don't understand it. I'm hoping that people can repeal this. I know there's all these lobbying organizations. There's lots of different companies that are trying to get this reversed because it is just bullshit. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, let's look at real quick what they say goes with gaming disorder and if it sounds like it could apply to pretty much anything. Let's take a look. So it says impaired control over gaming, onset, frequency, intensity, duration, termination, context. That again could apply to Netflix very easily. That could apply to any streaming service. That could apply to TV. People sit and watch TV. They sit on their ass and watch TV for hours and hours and hours. But for some reason, there's no problem with it. The reason there's no problem with that, and the reason it's not called a disorder, and why it's not called attention to all the time, is because that's where the media is. They're on TV. They don't want to say, oh, there's TV disorder. That's the new disease. Because guess what? That's where they are. They want you to be hooked. They want you to keep listening. In fact, they employ their own addiction methods. They employ their own hooks to keep you watching. There's fear tactics. There's this really, well, I guess that's also a scary story, but they kind of lead you in with, oh, we'll give you the headlines later at this time. You got to keep watching the news. Later, we'll discuss this. This story is going to keep developing. You got to watch this. They keep you terrified. They have gotten the public just completely paranoid about everything. It's called the mean world syndrome. I learned about it in journalism because that's what happens when you watch the news too much. You think the world is an awful, violent place when really it's actually one of the most peaceful times it's ever been. Violent crimes just keep going down. It keeps getting better. There's like less wars than there ever has been. Life really isn't that bad. Diseases were going away until morons started anti-vaxxing. But besides that, everything is pretty much just better. But unfortunately, because we have 24/7 news, we're freaking out all the time. Why isn't the news listed as a disease? Anyway, let's keep going. Sorry about that little rant there. Increased priority given to gaming to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities. Again, I've heard of plenty of other people that are stuck binging shows. I've heard of plenty of other people that have addictions to card games or board games or other things that are just fun things to do that then they take precedence over their life. People will get infatuated into working on cars. They'll blow way too much money on working on a specific car, and they'll just get addicted to doing that. They'll get addicted to some other hobby. People go all out on everything. I mean, if it exists, somebody's probably addicted to it. But for some reason, again, video games are being singled out. I don't see anything else on this list that has to do with entertainment except for gaming. Gaming is just so special, I guess, that it has to be put on this list, despite the fact that plenty of other things can do exactly that. I don't get it. There are plenty of things that take precedence over life interests. Seriously, this is ridiculous, guys. Let's keep going. Continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrences of negative consequences. Behavior pattern is of sufficient severity to result in significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. Yeah, that happens with video games. It really does. It does happen with video games, but it can happen with other things as well. Does it happen more in video games just because there are MMOs, there are more involved things? I mean, I've heard plenty of people that have lost friends due to some MMO or some video game sucking in their life. But again, that can still happen with plenty of other things. So the fact that other things can also do that makes it just so much weirder that they're singling out video games. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone here in thinking this, but I feel like it's just ridiculous that it's called a disease now. I think that's a bit much. Again, I don't think this kind of thing should be a disease either. I'm not trying to say other things should also be on the list. I'm just saying that it's weird that they're singling out video games. And I think it's just because it's become the most influential and the biggest form of media out there, the biggest form of entertainment. And I guess the biggest thing always draws the most heat. But I feel like TV should have been on this list way before video games. Ever seen the movie Cable Guy? Exactly. So thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, have a fantastic day, even if you have the horrible affliction of gaming disorder. I'm drinking a tangerine LaCroix, by the way, if you care. Some people ask they freak out if I don't tell you. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of curious as to what's in these. And they're just sitting on my desk. I'm using them as a prop, but I really want to know. Magic's pretty great. I enjoy it. It's a good time. I know people have seen like decks. I'm in the process of building on my desk a lot. And oh, cool! So this is Battle Bond, by the way, so you can get these partner creature things. So I got a partner creature thing. I have no idea if this is worth anything, but I got some cool stuff. You guys probably want to see it. You guys are like, I can't really see it from that far. I'm just gonna show the rares because I'm sure like 5 people are watching right now, and those are the only 5 that care. There we go. Can you see it? Boom! It focused. Proud of you. Proud of you. All right. 2 more packs. I don't really think anybody cares right now, but to those people watching, thank you for watching. I do sometimes stream Magic Arena, which is actually a video game version of Magic the Gathering, which I'm sure people have a gaming disorder of. People are probably pretty addicted to that game. They're afflicted, guys. They're afflicted. And you know, I do get that there are people that are addicted to video games, but it, again, comes down to self-control. And I don't think lack of self-control should be called a disease. I think it should just be called what it is, and that's irresponsibility. And that's it. That's all there really is to it. Besides that, I don't get why video games are singled out by themselves, and I think it's just the government again. And the thing is even if they tax video games, it's again not going to fall on the companies themselves. It's going to fall onto the consumers. I mean, cigarettes are taxed to the max, and I mean, sure, those murder people basically. I mean, it's just killing yourself if you smoke those. But guess who's getting taxed? It's not the companies that are getting taxed out the ass. The reason that cigarettes are so expensive is because that tax is passed on to the people. So it's just, makes no sense to me why the consumer is always the one that gets screwed over. This is a weird card. Each card in the chosen, oh, that's, huh. Boom. All right, cool. So that's all that. Thanks for the 5 people still watching. Streaming on twitch.tv/FuffleFanta tomorrow night. Go check it out.